Okay, so in this video we're going to see how to use the countif function and the sumif function. First of all, I just want to point out something to you. You may notice, right, that my grid lines are hidden. Right, so if I zoom out, you'll see it a bit better. Okay, usually we can see our grid lines in these areas here, but I've hidden them. And to do that, right, you click on the Page Layout tab, and here you have grid lines view. Right, it's unchecked. If that box is checked, there are my grid lines. If it's unchecked, they're hidden. So now my grid lines are hidden. And you can see lines here because I've highlighted this entire area. Alright, I've highlighted all this and I've placed a border around it. Alright, just take away the border. Right, now there's no border, but I think it looks better with the border, so we'll leave the border in place. On the Home tab, drop down, all borders, right? So that's how I've hidden the grid lines. So down below here, what we're going to do is use the countif function to count what leave we've taken over the month of January. Right, so I'm going to label this column here is going to be my leave, right? So I'm going to create a drop down menu here, and over here then I'm going to count the amount of leave days which I'm going to put in here in a minute, and then I'm going to calculate the amount of pay. Alright, so we have our count and our pay. So countif here and sumif here. Right, so in here we're going to create our data validation rule. So we'll click on data validation list, and then a source is going to be our column here again. Right, so let's say uncertified sick leave. So we're going to count this range of cells if it's equal to cell M37. So we need to start with the function called countif. So anytime we're starting with a function, we always start with the equals, and then it's countif, C-O-U-N-T-I-F, open bracket. So there we have our countif function, and there's the syntax. So countif, range and criteria. Right, so it's quite easy. The range of cells is going to be this. So it's M5 to M35. And our criteria is going to be whatever is in this column. Right? So our uncertified sick leave, we've taken 30 days in January, right? So there's 31 days in January. There's one annual leave, and the rest are uncertified sick leave. So a lot of sickness in January. Right, so we can just change. Right, so we've been in every week, every day in January. So if it's standard day, our count should read 31. Right, so our function is working. So then we want to calculate our pay. So how much have we been paid in January? So all we do there is calculate using sumif. So it's equal to sum if, and again look at the formula, sum if the range followed by the criteria and followed by the sum range. So the range in this instance is going to be our leave. The criteria is going to be our cell M37, and the sum range is going to be the pay. Right, so the range is going to be this. Right, M5 to M35. Right, the criteria then is going to be whatever we select in here, and the sum range is going to be our pay. And close the bracket. Right, so it's €5,575 for the month of January, which is quite a good rate of pay. And then we're going to change this to read as currency. Right, so we're going to format it. Excuse me, sorry, in here we're going to change this to read currency. Right, so let's just play around with the leave. Right, so we'll just change a few of these right to maternity. I'm just selecting maternity here. I'll zoom in. Right. So let's see how much was paid out on maternity leave. Right, so €750. So that's sumif and countif. Okay. So the next thing to look at then for next week is to see if there was any sick days on a Monday. So we'll say sick on Monday. Right, so what we want to do is, if somebody was certified sick on a Monday, right, we want to know how many times they were certified sick on a Monday for the month of January and how much that cost. So you're going to have to check, right, if somebody was sick here and if they were sick on a Monday, right, so there's going to be two ifs. So we're going to be using the function countifs with an S at the end, and we're going to put how many times that happened and how much it cost us, right? So the count ifs in here and the sum ifs in here. So if you have a go and see, can you figure out how to do that?